Greetings everybody, Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another Richard's Rock Rambles. So recently a very good friend of mine, Neil Dyer, came into a whole lot of vinyl from a friend of his, or a relation, I'm not quite sure, and I think it's a relation of his, and a lot of those he already had. So he sent me a list and he asked me, would you be interested? So I said, yes please, I mean it's a freebie. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. So I've got some really cool vinyl for nothing, which is rather nice of him, I thought. So I'm just going to quickly run through what I've got. Some of these I have had previously in years gone by that I've sadly got rid of and now got back. And the other ones I think I've known about, one I didn't know about. But yeah, we'll go through it and I'll quickly tell you what I got. I'm not going to go into too much detail about each one, but just to give you a rundown of the stuff that I got. First one, and this is I think the very first Jethro Tull best of ever to come out. MU, the very best of Jethro Tull, or the best of Jethro Tull. MU, always wondered what that stood for. It stands for Musicians Union, apparently. That's the vinyl there. That's Ian Anderson, if you can see that. It's not very clear. And there's some different versions of well-known tracks on here. That's got Teacher, Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, the edit version, so it's a slightly shorter version. Bungle in the Jungle, Locomotive Breath, Fat Man, Living in the Past, The Passion Play. Here's an album that I always struggle with, Passion Play. Skating Away on the Thin Ice of the New Day from War Child, Rainbow Blues, and Nothing is Easy. And it's got Clive Bunker, Glenn Cornick, Martin Barr, obviously on guitar, Ian Anderson, the main man. And yeah, some great early Tull on there, with a few different versions. And that's the back, not much else to show you there. So yeah, Jethro Tull, the first of a few that I got. Next one, this is a later album, and this one has actually got a cancelled by the SABC sticker on it. The SABC cancelled everything back in the day. They thought it was subversive or whatever. This was one of them. There you can see the cancelled SABC sticker. Believe it or not, yes, things were sad here back in the day. And this is an album called Rock Island from Jethro Tull, 1989. It's okay, not one of my favorites. It's nice to have though. And on the back there's 3 tracks here that have been highlighted. Obviously the ones that were banned, couldn't be played on the radio. Kissing Willie, yeah, The Rattlesnake Trail, and Rock Island, the title track, for whatever reason. And the only thing I really have an issue with about this album is the production, that 80s production, tinny drums. And I mean, you got Don Perry on drums, one of the greatest drummers that Tull ever had, but he just sounds awful on here. Anyway, the songs themselves are good. Some nice guitar, there's some really nice guitar work from Martin Barr, some nice lead breaks. Kissing Willie, I think it was a sort of a hit or a single. The Rattlesnake Trail, Ears of Tin. I'm trying to think what else is good in here. Strange Avenues, which is more of a mellow track. The Whalers' Jews, and another Christmas song, which also appears on, I think, that Christmas album that Jethro Tull released, which I, in fact, don't have in my collection. So there we go, Rock Island from Jethro Tull. Then we go back to the very early days and the concept album that Jethro Tull released, because everybody said that Aqualung was a concept album, but it wasn't. So Ian Anderson thought, right, I'll give you a concept album, even though it's totally ridiculous. Sorry, I've got a new dog here. Peanut, in your bed. She's new to the family, so she's still getting used to the cat. So I've got to try and keep the peace here. No, because the cat's in one of her crazy moods as well. So if you hear fighting or whatever in the background, don't be too alarmed. Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull, that's what I'm waffling on about. And this is really nice because this is the original album cover. Opens up like that. And then you get the whole newspaper. Yes, folks. The whole newspaper with all those ridiculous stories inside. Parody on a concept album deluxe. Let's see if I can close this properly. There we go. So yeah, I'm quite tough to get this. I do have it on CD. In fact, I've got the deluxe version that came out a few years back, which actually has the newspaper. But it's always nice to get the vinyl. Thick as a Brick, some strange stuff on there. I'm trying to think who was in the band. John Evan, Barrymore Barlow, I think, was the drummer. Martin Barr, Ian Anderson, and either Jeffrey Hammond or I don't think Original Basis was on there, so I think that was the lineup. Another one from the 70s from Jethro Tull, 74 in fact, War Child. And there's the back cover. And yeah, this is a strange album. One of the ones that I found a bit difficult to get into because there's some throwaway tracks on here that aren't that fantastic. War Child, the title track's good. Sea Lions a bit iffy. Queen and Country, Ladies, Backdoor Angels, Skating Away on the Thin Ice of the New Day. That's also a really good track on here. Some nice guitar work from Martin Barr. Excuse me. Oh. Bungle in the Jungle, that's a silly track. Starts off with those animal noises. Only Solitaire, The Third Hurrah, and Two Fingers. So yeah, if you're a collector, you need this. There's some good stuff on here. There's a picture of the band, and there's Ian Anderson. In those days, I think he used to wear a codpiece for whatever reason. Anyway, it was the 70s. One of my favorite Jethro Tull's, Benefit. This cover's been around the block, I think, but that's not a problem. The record itself is fine. Benefit is one of the early albums where there's a lot of riffs. Great guitar work from Martin Barr. John Evans here on keyboards, but not as a full-time member. He's actually as a guest. Clive Bunker on drums and Glenn Cornick on bass, and of course Ian Anderson. Some great tracks on here. With You There to Help Me, Nothing to Say, my favorite track, To Cry Your Song, and Society, You're a Woman are the standout tracks on here. And there it says, piano and organ played by John Evan for our benefit. On the Chrysalis label, which was Jethro Tull's label for many years and produced by Terry Ellis. Yeah, glad I got this. I've got this on CD, obviously, but nice to have the vinyl, and I think it's also had a reissue on CD. Then one which is, not one of the ones I reach for too often. In fact, I don't think I have this in my collection. Maybe I've got the CD. Catfish Rising from Jethro Tull. One of their later albums just came out in 91. Don Perry on drums, Martin Barr, David Pegg on electric and acoustic bass. Ian Anderson, obviously, on all the plays everything except the kitchen sink. It's okay. There's some nice guitar work, but it's not one that I reach for usually. This Is Not Love is okay. Thinking Around Corners. Rocks on the Road is a good track, and I think that was a single off here. Black Jacket and Tie, Sparrow on the Schoolyard Wall. Yeah, it's okay. Also, the cover doesn't do much for me. It's sort of dark and minimalist and what have you. But anyway, also still on the Chrysalis label. This is a local release. Music South Africa, EMI. There we go. Jethro Tull's Catfish Rising. And then the gem in the ones I got received, these freebies from Jethro Tull. The classic Live Bursting Out. This cat's insane. I think something's got up her arse. She keeps running around and the dog's very confused. Anyway, Live Bursting Out is the back cover. Probably the best lineup that Jethro Tull ever had. Barrymore Barlow, John Evan, Dave Palmer, who later became D. Palmer, John Glascock, the late John Glascock on bass, Ian Anderson, who have I missed out, Barrymore Barlow on drums. Yeah, that's about it. Martin Barr, there's all the guys there. Gatefold sleeve. There's Ian Anderson, there's the rest of the guys. If you like live albums, this you got to have in your collection. It's probably one of the best live albums ever. And the tracks on here are just stunning. No Lullaby, Sweet Dream, Skating Away on the Thin Ice of the New Day, Jack in the Green and One Brown Mouse, which are more acoustic based. Brilliant. A New Day Yesterday, Flute Solo, of course. Songs from the Wood, Thick as a Brick, Hunting Girl, which is one of my favorite on here. Nice riff from Martin Barr. Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die. Conundrum, which is a drum solo, where you see why Barrymore Barlow is one of my favorite drummers. Doesn't get mentioned with the John Bonhams of the world, but he should be. Minstrel in the Gallery, Cross-Eyed Mary from Aqualung. Quatrain, Aqualung, the title track, obviously from that album, Locomotive Breath, and the Dam Busters March. Excellent stuff. Really glad I got this one. And as the cover itself is in perfect nick, as are the albums. So this was well looked after, and it shall be well looked after going forward. will you two just calm down? Jeez, like, it's amazing, you know, if I'd done this video, if I hadn't wanted to do the video, that would have been fine. As soon as I start doing the video, the animals go insane. Yeah. Then I've got two Santanas, which I'm quite chuffed about. I got this many years ago, Inner Secrets, which is, I suppose, the more commercial Santana. A lot of hits on here. Well, All Right, One Chain Don't Make No Prison, Open Invitation, Move On, with the great Greg Walker on vocals. So that's that one. And then Moonflower, the sort of part live, part studio. And one of my favorite tracks on here, Peanut in Your Bed. Oh, what track is that? Black Magic Woman's on here. That's a live track. She's Not There. That's the one I'm thinking of, with some really great guitar work. Greg Walker's also on here on vocals. So I'm glad I got that one. I've been after this for a while, actually. Often see it at the vinyl fairs, but by the time I've seen it, I've run out of money. As one does. So yeah, that one I got. So that's two Santanas. And then a band I've never had on in my collection, a band called America. And very similar to Crosby, Stills and Nash, that kind of vocal harmonies kind of thing. So that's the self-titled first album from 1972. And the one that came afterwards called Homecoming. It's one of those sort of 2-on-1 things that they had back in the day. There we go, that's the inside. I must still give these a good listen, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. World War III is happening here. And then a Crosby, Stills and Nash best of called Replay, which has got slightly different versions of some of their well-known tracks. Carry On, Marrakesh Express, Just a Song Before I Go, First Things First, Shadow Captain, and To the Last Whale. Love the One You're With, Pre-Road Downs, Change Partners, I'll Give You Blind, and Cathedral. So that's that. Glad I got that. And then a band that I have got a best of, but not this one, Phantasmagoria from Curved Air. And I always thought Curved Air were like a progressive rock band. There was a lot of sort of folksy stuff on here as well. And I'm trying to think of the ladies. Sonia Christensen, I think, was the vocalist. Sometimes reminds me of Renaissance, but that's probably because of the female vocals. And yeah, glad I got that. I need to give that a listen. This has got a lot of surface noises, so I think I must give this a good clean. Second last one, or third last one, in fact, Stevie Ray Vaughan's Couldn't Stand the Weather. Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. His second album was an incredible version of Voodoo Child. Cold Shot is amazing. Who's on here? Obviously, Chris Layton on drums and Tommy Shannon on bass. And there's a few other. Jimmy Vaughan, his brother, plays on here as well. So that's that one. And then one I'm really chuffed I got, because I've been getting into this lately. Humble Pie, the self-titled album. And that's apparently a painter and artist by the name of Watt, because I looked that up. I wasn't sure what that was. And there's a very young Peter Frampton. Of course, he was part of Humble Pie. And Steve Marriott, what an incredible vocalist. And there's the other two guys, Jerry Shirley, and I'm trying to think who the other one was. Greg Ridley on bass. Yeah, excellent album. The best track on here, I think, is One-Eyed Trouser Snake Rumba. With some amazing riffs. You know, this band didn't get enough kudos. I mean, they were really big in the States, I think, as well as in the UK. But they just never got to that next level, which is a shame. And of course, when Frampton left, I think they lost a bit of their vibe. Humble Pie, self-titled. And then finally, one that I wasn't aware of, featuring Mike Bloomfield, John Paul Hammond, and Dr. John, called Triumvirate. Sort of a bluesy, jazzy kind of album. I don't know any of these tracks. Groundhog Blues, I think I've heard before. So I need to give this another listen. Mike Bloomfield on lead guitar, obviously, what an amazing guitarist. John Hammond on guitar, and Dr. John on piano, organ, guitar, banjo, and percussion. Who else is on here? Horns, Blue Mitchell, trombone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's a very unclear shot of the band. There's covers also seen a few owners, I think. So I need to give that. A lot of these I do need to listen to again. I've just got these the other day, so I haven't given them any proper listens, although I do know some of the albums. But, you know, you like to go through them again and look at the vinyl and read up and everything. So there we go. Those are the freebies that I got, which I'm very happy about. Sort of an early birthday present. Yeah, because that's coming up in a few days' time. Well, by the time you see this, it'll actually, I think when this goes out, it'll be my birthday. Yeah, you kind of wonder, where the hell did your youth go? You know, you used to be 20-something, and now you, whatever you are, I'm not going to say what it is, it's too sad. So there we go. Please, down below, let me know what you think of my freebies. And any comments, more than welcome. Give me a thumbs up for the video if you like. But I didn't go into too much detail because, you know, it could go on and on and on, and you don't want to have the video where you die of boredom looking at my ugly mug for like half an hour or longer. So I just thought I'd give a quick rundown of what I got. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It does help the channel. And don't forget, in the description down below, there'll be a link to Rebel Rock Radio, the fantastic radio station that I'm part of. I have a show on a Wednesday evening between 7 and 10, gets repeated on a Thursday and a Sunday, called Richard's Rock Rambles, obviously. And what do I play on the show? I play anything from metal to blues to prog rock, classic rock, jazz rock fusion sometimes. That's pretty much the style that we have on the show, or that I have on the show. And yeah, please tune in. You might enjoy it. Take it easy. It's freezing outside here. The rain is pouring. We're in the middle of winter. So I'm staying inside. You can see I'm dressed for the Arctic. And yeah, take it easy, guys. And I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.